and this is Batty Chatty. And today we are going to be talking about vampires. So I thought that we could talk about all of your favorite vampires, what you like about the subgenre, and Sid wanted to say hello. Hey, Sid. Yeah, so let's talk vampires. What are some of your favorite vampire movies or your favorite vampires, actually? Let's see here. Hey, Antonio. I know I haven't been on live. I apologize for that, but yes, The Lost Boys. The Lost Boys is one of my favorite vampire movies. To me, The Lost Boys has everything. It has vicious vampires. Not only are they vicious, but they're also sexy. And, for some reason, hey, what's going on? Vampires don't have to be sexy, but I think it's always better when they kind of have a little bit of sex appeal. The flip side to scary vampires that aren't really sexy that I absolutely love, though, would be 30 Days of Night. 30 Days of Night has that vicious, amazing vampire feel, and I mean those are vampires that you would not want to bite you, whereas Lost Boys, you're like, oh yeah, I want to join the club. 30 Days of Night, you don't want to join their club. Hey John, hey Wayne. Not too much, Antonio. What's up with you? And it's good to see everyone. I've had a little bit of a hiatus from my live feeds, and I'm sorry for that, but I'm going to try to get back into them. And that's why I chose vampires, because it's one of my favorite subgenres of horror movies. And, if I see that there's a movie and there's vampires, I want to see it. It doesn't matter who's in it, nothing. I want to see it. Even if I can tell it's going to be corny and maybe not that great, I still want to see it. So, yes, Interview with a Vampire. I love that. Hey, Nick. I've always loved that movie. And that one has so much more romanticism in it. Blade, yes. I love the Blade franchise. And Blade is more like action vampires. Same with the Underworld franchise. And I love both of those franchises so much. Let's see here. Hey, Erica, Lost Boys, without a shadow of a doubt. Great mix of dark and comedy. Soundtrack, perfect. Yes, I agree with you, Paul. And that is why The Lost Boys is one of my very favorite vampire movies. It just has everything. And also it was made in the late 80s, but it was still made in the 80s. And, I have such nostalgic love for 80s horror. I love Dragula, yeah, absolutely. Salem's Lot. I agree, Thomas. Salem's Lot is a great vampire movie. And not only that, it has so many people have nostalgia towards Salem's Lot because of that scene with the kid at the window scared the hell out of them when they were younger. And Salem's Lot's a great one. Yeah, Mike, Salem's Lot made you nail your bedroom window shut. Absolutely. Hey, Brad. I would love to see Brian Lumey's Necroscope made into a series of films. That would be really cool, Charles. That would be cool. Haley, Cold-Blooded Vampire, The Night Stalker. Marvel is going to release Morbius sometime next year. Oh, that's nice. Interview with Vampire, absolutely. Blade is Marvel as well. You know, out of DC and Marvel, I do tend to lean. I always seem to lean towards Marvel. I don't know what it is. I tend to love the Marvel universe better than DC, even though DC has some great characters. Bram Stoker's Dracula with Gary Oldman is my all-time favorite one. Wayne, I love that movie. There's a lot of, for some reason, that movie does get quite a bit of hate, and I don't really understand, because I think it's a great movie. I really do. I think it has, Gary Oldman's performance as Dracula is one of the best performances I think ever. Even with Keanu, maybe it wasn't his best performance, but Winona Ryder was so good. I thought Anthony Hopkins was great, but I'm a big fan of his. He can almost do no wrong for me. I love that movie. Love that movie. Hey, Brian. Blackula. You know, I have not seen Blackula in a really long time, Charles. I need to revisit that one. Subspecies is really good. Let Me In. You know, Mike, it's kind of funny. I just watched Let Me In again this morning. I love that movie. And Let the Right One In is also, you know, obviously an amazing film. I mean, they're both the same story, but hey, Bonnie. Let's see here. Have you seen Let Me In? Yes, I have seen Let Me In, and I love that one. I want to let's see here. Who else watches Fright Night on Halloween? Oh, I love Fright Night. Fright Night is such a great movie, and I was so stoked to meet Chris Sarandon at the last horror con that I went to, because I'm like, oh, I finally met Jerry the Vampire. And yeah, no, Fright Night is an amazing vampire movie. Life Force is a vampire movie that people don't think is a vampire movie. That's true, Brian. It's kind of a sci-fi vampire movie, if I remember correctly. It's a different one, but it's definitely vampire. Jesus Christ, Vampire Hunter. My son would have got so cross if you said DC over Marvel. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm a Marvel girl when it comes to comic book movies, especially. Bram Stoker's was the beautiful romantic vampire era. The time period was perfect. I agree, Bonnie. There are so many vampire movies that I love. It really, I love vampire movies. And even, like I said before, even a bad vampire movie is still a good movie for me because it has vampires in it. That is funny. My new age shop makes an anti-vampire kit, which includes wooden box, mallet, stake, holy water, and necklace of garlic. That's hilarious, Vanessa. There's a lot of Dracula movies, but I really love Dracula Untold. You know, Antonio, I really love Dracula Untold as well. I felt really bad that it got kind of crapped on by critics and other people, because I thought it was a really good movie. I really enjoyed that movie. Hey, Bill. Hey, John. Yeah, everything's going pretty good. Thank you. Here's one most people forget, Last Man on Earth with Vincent Price. Yeah, I had forgot about that one, Charles. Fright Night is my absolute favorite. Fright Night is amazing. Salem's Lot. Oh my God, you're so lucky. Oh, about meeting Chris Sarandon. Thank you, Yeager. I hope I said your name right. I felt very lucky. I was super, super stoked. Chris Sarandon is amazing. Would love to meet him. He's very, very nice. He's very nice. He doesn't shake hands. He only does a fist bump. I think he might be a little germphobe, but he's very, very nice man. Fright Night, Near Dark, The Lost Boys, Interview with the Vampire. These are some of my favorites. I love all of those on your list, Jeffrey. All of those are wonderful. Patrick Stewart too. I would love to meet Patrick Stewart. That would be great, but I've not had a chance. 30 Days of Night, one of my favorites. Love the decapitation of vampires in that one. Bill, I agree. It's funny. I've got like, okay, well, these are my favorite action vampire movies. These are my favorite romantic vampire movies. These are my favorite, 80s ones. So I have like categories within my vampire movies of which ones are my favorites. I do love 30 Days of Night. Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Killer. Heard was good, never seen it. John, it was definitely worth the watch, but I was a little disappointed in it. I liked where they were going with it, but I thought that they could have maybe done a little more. But like I said, even bad vampire movies are good vampire movies to me. So, my opinion might be subjective to that. Coppola's Dracula. Yes, love Coppola's Dracula. The ending of Near Dark is so wonderfully brutal. Near Dark is one that I think so many people forget, and I love that movie. I absolutely love that movie. And its vampires are very brutal too. And I love that. From Dusk Till Dawn. Yes. Thank you, David. There's so many movies I forget. I love that movie too. That one has so much comedy and brutality and just wonderful soundtrack. I mean, I love From Dusk Till Dawn. Oh my God, 30 Days Night is probably my favorite. Life Force is based on a book called Space Vampires. That doesn't surprise me, Brian. Interview with a Vampire, Tom Cruise as Lestat was absolutely amazing. Probably my favorite vampire performance. There's a lot of people that kind of don't like his performance, and I thought it was great. I mean, I wish Tom did more fantasy and horror things, because I thought he was also great in Legend. And he broke away from that kind of stuff and went more into action and what have you. But I thought he really did good in fantasy and a little bit of horror. So I agree. I thought he was a great Lestat. Ever seen Daybreakers? That one was massively underrated. I agree, Wayne. I love Daybreakers. Daybreakers was such a great story because, I always thought, okay, so you get everybody on board being a vampire, you're gonna run out of food. And that totally dealt with that. And I loved that. Excuse me. Let's see here. 30 Days a Night was cool. From Dusk Till Dawn is just the right amount of cheese. I agree with that. What do I think about Twilight? I like Twilight for what it is. It's not horror movies. They are romantic fantasies with vampires and werewolves in them for young adults. And I think that they're good for that. They are not horror movies at all. And, introduction to horror or what have you, when maybe you're not quite ready, I don't know. I don't mind them. I don't hate them. I do like to make fun of them from time to time, but it's only in good fun. I actually don't hate them. The mythology of the vampire has always intrigued me, so I will watch any vampire movie. I agreed, Bonnie. The whole mythology behind vampires and you know what makes them turn, what hurts them, you know, and because each universe is different in each movie or story or what have you, you know, in certain movies they can walk in daylight, which always kind of bothers me. You know, if they can get around it, like in Vampire Diaries with a witch and charmed ring or bracelet or whatever, that makes a little more sense. But I do like that vampires can't walk in the sun. You know, when they start messing with the mythology like that, it bums me out a little bit. But you know, as long as it's being able to be explained away, like in a plausible way, I give them a little room. Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, I hear is good. Has anyone seen it? I have seen it. But like in most movies, there's a bunch of people that say, oh, it sucked, and there's a bunch of people that say they really liked it. Check it out. Vampire Hunter D and Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. I liked those. Hello, Anthony. Matilda May is so beautiful in Life Force. Life Force is shockingly good and bad at the same time. I have to agree with you, Charles. Dracula AD 1972. I don't think I've seen that one, Anthony. You know, I've seen a lot of Dracula movies because, like I said, I love vampire movies. But I don't think I've seen that one. Hey, Amy. Rebecca Irene Mathis. Stakeland. I liked Stakeland. Stakeland was cool. You know, it kind of gave a Mad Max vibe to a vampire movie, which I liked. I thought it was good. Hellsing and Hellsing Ultimate, really perfect. Ultimate, again, the right amount of cheese and weird horror. I don't know if I've seen those. I really liked Van Helsing. Let's see here. I know I'm lagging on some of these comments. Love them all. Yes, I do too, Patricia. Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing. You know, I'm not sure I've seen that, Anthony, but I'm gonna definitely have to watch it. Stakeland is really underrated. Mr. is the dude that I personally would like to know. From Dusk Till Dawn. Anything with Peter Cushing. I agree with that. You know, I was just watching a movie the other night with Peter Cushing. And it was a Frankenstein movie, but I forget the name. He was like going back to like redo some of his, it wasn't just Frankenstein. It was like he was going back to his old castle to try to recreate his old experiments. And it was pretty late, so I ended up falling asleep. Not because it was boring, just because I was tired. But yeah, I love Peter Cushing in anything he does. Near Dark with Bill Paxton. Near Dark is an amazing movie. You know, when I met Lance Hendrickson, I didn't realize that he wasn't going to have any photos for me to sign, like for me to get his autograph. And I have a Near Dark collector's edition, and I should have brought it with me, and I would have definitely had him sign that collector DVD, but I didn't have it with me, and it was the last day of the con, so I couldn't bring it the next day. As I mentioned, one of your other lives, I bought a vampire motorcycle, British B movie comedy, hilariously cheesy. Yes, I need to see that, Paul. I still haven't gotten a chance to. Hey, Richard. Tom Cruise as Lestat seemed weird at first, but loved his performance now. Yeah, Jeffrey. I mean, when you don't think of Tom Cruise as vampire, with the roles that he's played, but I think he pulled it off. I think he did a great job. Yes, we are talking vampires, Adrian. All things vampires. Who's your favorite vampire? What's your favorite movie? All go-to favorite vampire movie, whatever. I just thought it was going to be an easy topic, and I mean, you either love vampires or you don't, and most people I know really like vampire movies. Think that I have heard of that one. Interview is the only Tom Cruise movie I like. I really like Legend as well. Tom Cruise doesn't bother me. Some of his his performances don't bother me. Some of his other things kind of make me think he's a little kooky, but that's okay. Good afternoon, Zach. Hey, Sam. Daybreakers was surprisingly good. When I went in to Daybreakers, I was not expecting what I got, and I was so pleasantly surprised. And, I'm a fan of Ethan Hawke. I'm a fan of William Dafoe, and I'm a fan of Sam Neill. So all of those three together was like right on for me. I mean, I was so stoked, and it was a good movie. I personally like Blade, especially the second one. Adrian, I love the entire Blade franchise, and I tend to lean towards the first one, but I love the second one too, especially because of the Guillermo del Toro, and I always murder his name. I hope I said it semi-okay, because I love I love Del Toro movies. I know I can say his last name fine. And so the second Blade was great. The third Blade, the reason I like it so much is because I love Ryan Reynolds and his just sarcastic wit and charm. It was like having Deadpool in a Blade movie, except he wasn't quite as badass. But and it was before the Deadpool movies, but you know what I mean. So yeah, no, I love Blade. Blade is great. And the rumors of getting another Blade, I really want another Blade, but I really want Wesley to be Blade. If it was somebody else, I don't. I mean, I would still watch it, but I think it needs to be Wesley still. I think you can still pull it off. Salem's Lot is the only scary vampire book/movie I've ever experienced. Sorry if this has been brought up already. No, it hasn't been brought. Well, the movie has, but we can most certainly talk about it again. That movie inspires a lot of fear in a lot of people, and there is for sure definitely reasons why. It was scary. I mean, I love it. I love Salem's Lot, and I even like the remake a lot, like a whole lot. And I love the original. I love the remake. I just love that story. I've not read the book. I need to read the book. Blade is fun. I have a low-key crush on this lady for some reason. What lady? The thing I find about vampire movies is that most of them are not brutal enough. The vampires are not at all inhuman enough. That's what I liked so much about 30 Days of Night, Charles. What do you think about the ones that bend the genre, the change of overall mythos? Great. Yeah, I was kind of talking about that a little bit earlier. You know, there's certain myths they can change around a little bit. They need to not be able to stand holy water. They need to not be able to stand sun. Garlic, it doesn't matter too much to me. You know, they need to not have a reflection. You know, there's certain things that when they change the core mythos, it kind of bothers me. Like I said, you know, when they have them walking in the sun, there has to be a good reason why. You know, like in Underworld. Underworld is one of my favorite vampire franchises. I really love it. You know, now Celine is a daywalker. You know, she can go out in the sun, but there was a good reason why, because she drank Alexander's blood. And that made it so that she could do that. And, you know, and when they do different things like, you know, some sort of witch spell or charm that make them be able to, I don't really mind too much with that. But the overall mythos need to kind of be along the same lines. The Strain. Oh, I love The Strain, Charles. Another Del Toro inspired stuff. Hi, I quite like the Addiction, though I love John Carpenter's Vampires. The Addiction was really good, Laura. I really liked that. And I love John Carpenter's Vampires as well. The sequels to those were not quite as up to par, but I really loved the first one. Hey, Justin. I hope they really do the Anne Rice series. I would love some more Anne Rice movies. You know, we've got Interview with the Vampire and Queen of the Damned, but, you know, they really didn't do Lestat. They didn't do any of the other books. It would be really great if they did do more. So have you seen a different kind of vampire movie called Shadow of the Vampire? Yes, I have, Sam, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. Shadow of the Vampire was good. I really liked it. It had the, you know, it had the old vampire in it, but, you know, John Malkovich in it was so good, being that crazy director. And yeah, no, I love Shadow of the Vampire. It's great. 30 Days of Night was one of the more brutal movies that made vampires scary. Yes, I agree, Jeffrey. Blade is the best vampire movie, enough said. Blade is one of the very, very the best. But, you know, it's so hard for me to pick just one that I love the most. It really is. The Strain is wonderful in so many ways. It is such a good twist away from the supernatural towards something based more in biological reasons. I agree with you, Charles. Kind of like it's an infection, but, you know, creates hive mind and all of that kind of craziness, which is really cool. I love The Strain. And on the sexier side, Vampires from 1978, the remake wasn't as good. Yeah, there are some pretty sexy vampire movies. Oh, my back is itchy for some reason. And I like most all of them. You can find it on YouTube. Okay, thank you, Anthony. Yes, Sam Cornell, Shadow of the Vampire is amazing. So different. I agree. Really different. And I like it when movies are different, but they're good. Like that. Let's see. What's in another one? I always forget. Let's see here. Lucy Liu. Lucy Liu was in it. Let's see here. Rise, Blood Hunter. I really like that one for some reason, you know, and it's not talked about very often, but I really dig that one. Horror of Dracula with Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee. Yes, that's a good one. Interview with a Vampire. Oh my God, nothing like it. You know, when I read Interview with a Vampire, the book, because, you know, I read the book before they made the movie, and I fell in love with that series. And I absolutely think that movie was wonderful. I thought Brad Pitt did a great job. I thought Tom Cruise did a great job. I thought Kirsten Dunst did a great job. I just really loved it. Underworld. Yes, Patricia, I love Underworld. I wish Brian Lumey's Necroscape series gets made into a series. Kitchen is amazing. If we want to talk cheesy vampire flicks, surely Fright Night 85 is the top. That is cheesy, but it's also really good, Sam. I really love Fright Night. I absolutely love Fright Night. You know, and then there's some vampire comedies that I really like one called Vamps with Sigourney Weaver. That one's super cheesy, and I mean it's a comedy for sure, but I mean it's super cheesy and funny. There's another one called Suck, and it has Malcolm McDowell and Iggy Pop and Alice Cooper in it, and that one is really funny, really, really funny. And I tend to really I like, just like I like zombie comedies, I like vampire comedies. I've yet to see all of Vampire, but oh my God, it's so atmospheric. I don't think I've seen that. How about Priest, Blade, or Dracula Untold? I love Priest. We haven't mentioned Priest yet. I love Priest. I think that's a great movie. And it's totally different. You know, kind of like, you know, when you see just your regular, oh, it's vampires, and they don't really do anything different. It may still be good, but it's just your run-of-the-mill everyday vampire movie. But that vampire movie was totally different, and I really liked that. I love Blade and Dracula Untold too. Hey, Joe. You're hot, and so are vampires. Oh, thank you, Brett. That's really sweet. Hey, Andy. Hello, Michelle. Well, welcome. I hope you enjoy the group, and I hope you enjoy the live feed. Another underrated vampire movie is Rise with Lucy Liu. Oh, I think I was looking that up probably before you typed that, Adrian. I love that movie. I happen to be a big fan of Lucy Liu. I love everything she's in. I just think she's so pretty, and she can be so funny. She can be serious. I just think she's great. And yeah, I really liked her as a vampire, and even yet kind of a badass little vampire that was killing other vampires. I thought it was great. How about John Carpenter's Vampires? I love John Carpenter's Vampires, Bill. Underworld was my favorite. I can't even tell you how many times I've seen Underworld. Not only did I get the regular DVD, I got the director's cut DVD. For a while there, I didn't have any cable, and so I just watched DVDs for, I don't know, probably in the early 2000s, kind of when Underworld first came out. And I had that DVD in my player on repeat, and I would just play it over and over and over again. Brian Lumey must be acknowledged. Underworld was fun in a totally dumb kind of way. It was like a bad music video with vampires and werewolves. Okay. I loved it. I loved it. I thought it was great. Bad music video or not, I thought it was great. Hello from Tennessee. Hey, Tracy. How's Tennessee? Vampire Hunter D anime. Any love for that? Yes. Yes. I think Vampire Hunter D is great. Lesbian Vampire Killers is awesome for a laugh. I don't think I've seen that one, Andy. Love All Blade. Yes, me too. Boris Dragon Sony is really creepy. Not a movie, but have you checked out What We Do in the Shadows? Blade and others made vampire cameos in it. I have tried to watch What We Do in the Shadows several times. I don't know if I wasn't in the mood for it. I just, and I love all of those actors, and I know there's a lot of love for that movie, but I just didn't get it. I need to try it again. I need to try it because I love all of those actors. I love all those New Zealand actors, and I just don't know. Maybe I wasn't in the mood. All 3 or 4 times I tried to watch it, it just wasn't getting it. I need to try it again. Brian Loomy is a great author, dry at points, but the first 3 Necroscopes movies are outstandingly written. Are outstanding for when they were written. I'll have to check that out, Charles. The greatest comedy vampire movie ever made, What We Do in the Shadows. See, I know a lot of people love that movie, and I want to love it, and I haven't been able to yet. But maybe it'll just be kind of a thing like Lords of Salem. I'll just have to try to watch it until I like it. Because that finally happened with Lords of Salem with me, but it hasn't with What We Do in the Shadows just yet. Bram Stoker's Dracula was mine, and The Lost Boys. I love those 2 movies. I can't find really anything wrong with them. Christopher and Bella are my favorites. Christopher Lee and Bela Lugosi are amazing vampires. I actually had named one of my cats Bela Lugosi, so absolutely. Say hello to Bell Bell. Hello, Bell Bell. Hello from Philly. Hey, Danny. Hey, John. Hey, Maureen. The vampire from Dr. Sleep were awful. Don't have high hopes for the new film. I've not read that book. So has anyone mentioned Buffy? No one has mentioned Buffy yet, Sam. I love Buffy. I love the movie Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I love the series Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That's one of those where, you know, a lot of times you get a movie and then they do a spin-off series and one is way better than the other. I really feel that Christy Swanson was a great Buffy. I really think she was. And but then again, Sarah Michelle Gellar is a great Buffy too. And kind of when I think of Buffy, I always think of Sarah, probably just because there's so much more material. But I love them both. Absolutely love them both. Agreed, but sometimes those twists work for that story. No, I agree, Shawnee. Sometimes the twists do work for the story as far as breaking the mythos, but when they don't work for the story, when they're just blatantly, oh, I just walk in the day because I can, it doesn't work for me. Salem's Lot. The same reason why zombies shouldn't be able to run faster than the living. I get your point. Andy. And for some reason, fast zombies don't bother me. Probably because they're so much scarier than slow-moving zombies. So, if I want to be kind of more scared, it's like, oh, a fast zombie, that would be so much scarier. But absolutely, if you think about it, they should be slow. Hey, Destiny. Let's see here. The Fearless Vampire Killers. Let's see here. Thank you for your time, everyone. Time to get going to the real world. You all have a good fortune and good hunting. Thank you, Charles. You should check out The Night Flyer. Great atmosphere, creepy vampire horror movie, and criminally underrated. Most people don't even know it exists. I do know it exists, Jack. I have not seen it, though. I need to. And every once in a while, I will post pictures of The Night Flyer in the group, and he's a creepy looking vampire. I need to see the movie, and I hear sometimes it's kind of hard to find. Christopher Lee will always be the best in your opinion. Yes, Andy. Christopher Lee is just an amazing actor, man. Everything. I love all of his performances in every movie he's ever done. They need to interview the real vampire community to show real life. I have seen some interviews when people do interview some of these vampire communities. Some of those are fairly frightening just because some of the people are doing some pretty strange things. I tend to want to stick with the movies more. Underworld, Victor, Bill Knightley was awesome. I agree, Tony. And I really love Bill Knightley. I love all of his performances. Subspecies. You prefer vampires to zombies? Me. I do prefer vampires to zombies. I do. But I really like zombies. But my go-to would be vampires first, then werewolves, then zombies. Of those three. Dracula, Dead and Loving It. That's a good one. New here and loving it. Following. Oh, hey Patricia. Good to have you here. This feed is schooling me on all vampire movies I need to see. Yeah, see, that's why I love doing these live feeds, because there's always somebody that brings up something that's like, oh man, I totally forgot about that. Yeah, that's a great one. Or, I love that. Hey, excuse me. We're forgetting the vampires in Trick or Treat. Were there vampires in Trick or Treat? I know there were werewolves, and there was the fake vampire that got eaten by the werewolves. What was the vamp film with Kat Von D? I remember seeing it, but I don't remember enjoying it. I'm not sure. Hey, Wendy, how's Louisiana? Hey, Monica, how's Tennessee? Hey, Patricia, how's Kentucky? Hey, Danielle. Dusk Till Dawn. Yes, I love that movie, Wendy. Hey, Chris. New Mexico. Nice, Paula. How's New Mexico? The best vampire movie is Dracula with Bela Lugosi. His creepy goth performance is set the stage for countless films that followed. Zach, I agree. And at the time, they didn't even allow him to have fangs because that was too provocative for the 1930s. Whereas Christopher Lee had some major fangs, Bela Lugosi didn't have any, but he still pulls off this super creepy gothic vampire vibe, and I love it. I love vampires. The new show, The Passage, is great stuff. I agree, John. I like The Passage. My mom, she read the book series. It's a 3-book series, and so I'm excited. I'm excited to see the second season of The Passage. Amy Rose, California. Hey, that's where I am. It was funny. What do we do? It was funny. What we do in the shadows. Innocent Blood, directed by John Landis. What's your favorite? Fright Night 85 or 2011? Ooh, Natasha. I have to go with 85, but I absolutely love the 2011 Fright Night. I really think that they shouldn't have called it Fright Night. I think that they should have named the characters other names and just did a different and just called it something else, Night of the Fright or whatever, just because it was so different than the first one. It was like a totally different movie, which I liked, but it got so much heat because so many people love the original Fright Night. So, I really think they should have named it something else. Queen of the Damned. I love Queen of the Damned. Bela Lugosi is my classic horror crush. Swoon. Shawnee, I know exactly what you're saying. I agree. Necroscope spawned Boris Dragosellini and his brutally creepy. Check these books out. Thank you, John. I like True Blood. Amy, you're the first one that's brought up True Blood. I love True Blood, and I loved the novels that inspired True Blood. The Sookie Stackhouse novels. I read them all before True Blood even came out, and they were so good. And the show kind of followed the books probably into the second season and then just went like way off, which was also cool because then you got a totally different thing and you didn't know what was coming, and it wasn't like, oh, it's not like the books, which when they follow it sort of close but not exactly close kind of pisses me off. I'd rather them veer completely off and be completely different. I love True Blood. Eric Northman is probably one of my very favorite vampires ever. He's so yummy. Buffy was great. I agree. Underworld. Necroscope books are awesome. Everyone that likes vampires should read them. All the 5 and 3 Blood Brother ones. Goes off the boil after that. Thank you, Andy. I may have you message me those titles. This is cheesy, but I love The Vampire's Assistant with John C. Reilly. It's PG-13, but I thought it was awesome. Monica, I love that movie. As cheesy as it is, as preteen as it kind of is, I absolutely love that movie. It's just kind of a feel-good vampire movie. You know what I mean? And I dig it. Let's see here. Oops. I had lost my connection for a second there. I'm back. 30 Days of Night was a great film. Let's see here. Oh, hey, Susie. Hate Running Zombies. Nosferatu, anyone. Patricia, you know, I've started that one and I want it. I want to see some people getting bit. You rock. Thank you, Wendy. Let's see here. An older 70s movie I saw at the drive-in was Velvet Vampire. I'm not sure if I've seen that. What's your view on True Blood? If you watched it, were you team Eric or Bill? Eric all the way. Absolutely all the way. There's hands down absolutely no question about it. It'd be team Eric and Pam. I love Pam too. Love vampires. Oh yeah. It was the fake vampires and the girls were werewolves. Oops. Yeah, it's okay. I prefer lichens, vampires, and zombies. You know, werewolves, lichens, they're a close second to vampires for me. I love werewolves, but vampires edge them out just slightly for me. And zombies would always be third. I'm French and I don't understand, but you're beautiful. Oh, thank you. Dracula Untold. Dracula Untold is amazing. Absolutely amazing. I think The Passage got canceled. Do you really think The Passage got canceled? Oh, that would suck. That would suck. I hope it didn't. Fright Night 85. Yes, Fright Night 85 is wonderful. Dracula 2 had some nice gore. Very different. All movies of the Twilight. You know, like I said before, I don't really mind the Twilights. I like them for what they are. I prefer the 2011 Fright Night simply because Colin Farrell was a hotter vampire next door. You know, Zach, Colin Farrell is very hot, Jerry, I have to say. And it was really great seeing Chris Sarandon do that cameo as the driver that Colin Farrell kills, which was super cool. I really liked that. I thought that was a really neat cameo of his. No, I'm not taking anything away from the 2011 Fright Night. I love that movie. I just think it would have been received better if it had been called something else. Subspecies with Radu. They filmed the Spanish version of Dracula. Filmed after hours on the Lugosi Dracula set. I finally saw it a couple years back. Oh, I've not seen that. Midnight here in London. Night all. Good night, Sam. Innocent Blood, classic John Landis. Old comedy movie called Love at First Bite. I love Love at First Bite. Just like I like George Hamilton in Zorro the Gay Blade. I love Love at First Bite. Let's see here. Hammer Films, Lee and Cushion. Byzantium, I think is how you say that. Erica, I really like that movie too. I absolutely love that movie. Hey CJ, what about Stakeland? Stakeland's great. I like Stakeland. Lichens are part werewolf and vampire. Oh, I thought lichens that was just a lycanthrope, which would be a werewolf. Part vampire, part werewolf. I absolutely love that. Salem's Lot. Dracula 31 will always be my favorite. There's just something about its charm. I agree, Dusty. it is very charming, and I love all the old Universal monster movies. I really do. You know, the Frankensteins, the Draculas, the werewolves, Creature, all of them, all of them. The Lost Boys. Do you think they should do a remake? Natasha, I do not think that they should do a Lost Boys remake. You know, they were talking about doing a series for the Lost Boys, and that might be okay. But I really don't want them to remake the movie. They have such gold there, and I don't see the reason for it to be remade. Just like, you know, there's a lot of movies out there that I just don't see the reason for them to remake them. Like, I would see no reason to remake The Craft. I would see no reason, you know, but they sort of did The Craft as a series with Charmed. It was different. It was totally different, but it was kind of like The Craft. And, you know, it was witches and whatnot, but they made it totally different. It would be okay if they did something like that, but, you know, who knows? And speaking of Charmed, I thought that remaking that series was totally unnecessary as well. Is everyone excited for the Salem's Lot remake? You know, Zach, they remade Salem's Lot in 2004, and I loved that version. So but I'm a big Rob Lowe fan. So pretty much anything Rob Lowe does, he can do no wrong. Not to mention had Donald Sutherland and Rutger Hauer, and I love those actors too. So, you know, if it's got those people in it, usually I'm going to like it no matter what it is. I didn't hear that they were going to do another Salem's Lot, but if they do, I'll definitely watch it. You know, I don't feel like when they redo something that it takes away from the original source material, because if I don't like it, I just never watch it again and pretend it doesn't exist. Hey, Seth. Witches, The Craft, and Charmed. One Hit Wonder. Dark Prince is about life of Vlad Dracula as a warrior father excommunicated and damned by the church, based on a true story. Nice, Gwen. I need to check that out. What is your opinion of Cursed with Christina Ricci? I've never seen it, but it always comes up on Netflix. I believe it's a vampire movie. It is not a vampire movie. That is a werewolf movie. And I love it. Not everybody likes it. It is a Wes Craven werewolf movie. And if you like Christina Ricci, Joshua Jackson, it's a good movie. I like it. It's fun. What's your opinion on global warming? I'm not getting into that. We're not talking about stuff like that. We're talking about vampires. If Hannibal Lecter was a vampire, who would win if he fought Dracula? Thank you, Michael, for just being joking. But yeah, we don't talk about that kind of thing. Who would win if he fought Dracula? That would be difficult. Hannibal kind of is a badass. That would be a tough fight. I'd have to see that, Aaron. I don't know who I'd put my money on. Probably Hannibal, but it's hard to say. Hey, Josh. Let me see here. Are there any other ones that we missed? Thirst. We've talked about all of those. We've talked about all of those. The Hunger. Hey, Steve. Hey, Jamie. We're talking about vampires, Joshua. Here. Any love for The Hunger with David Bowie? That's a really good old vampire movie. Let's see here. What other ones? I think we covered all of these. I just kind of brought up vampire movies on Google, and we've covered almost all of these. We didn't talk about Vampire's Kiss. That's pretty much vampire comedy, but it's funny. The Addiction, yeah, we've talked Priest, Van Helsing, Dracula Untold, Vamp. We didn't talk about Vamp. That's a good 80s vampire. Yeah, shoot, I think we covered that. We've covered a whole lot. Let's see here. Have you seen Hereditary? Did you like it? One of my favorites is Dusk Till Dawn. You know, one of my favorites is Dusk Till Dawn. I just cannot get enough of it. It's awesome. Vamp is campy. Well, yeah, it's an 80s Grace Jones movie. I actually prefer Vamps, which is also campy, but it's super comedy. Let's see here. I know there's some other ones. Oh, let's see here. Last Lover Left Alive, or what is the name of that movie? Yeah, Last Lovers Left Alive. That one, Only Lovers Left Alive. I love that one. That's really different and unique. But I'm a big Tilda Swinton fan. Swinton. I really like Tilda Swinton. And she looks so cool in that. Love at First Bite. I love Love at First Bite. What about Interview with the Vampire? I love Interview with the Vampire. How about A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night? What's your thoughts on that? You know, Natasha, I've not seen that one. I need to see that one. I have seen most vampire movies. I have not seen that one yet. Van Helsing. I love Van Helsing. Once Bitten. Once Bitten is so funny and campy and just really great 80s goodness. I love seeing Jim Carrey when he's so young. It's great. Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. Has anybody mentioned Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter? That's another good one. Yes. A couple people have asked if anyone has seen it, and a couple people have brought it up. It is a good one. I was expecting a little bit more, but I liked it a lot. There any other ones that we've missed? The TV show What Lurks in the Shadows is funny, but it's vampires. I've not seen that. The vampire TV shows I have seen that I really like would be The Gate, or The Gates. There was only one season of that, but it had vampires, it had werewolves, it had witches, it had other beings. I really liked it. The other Vampire Diaries, the originals. Yeah, I love all of those. Daybreaker, The Priest. Uh, Vampire in Brooklyn. Vampire in Brooklyn was surprisingly good. I wasn't expecting a whole lot because it's Eddie Murphy, and you just figure it's gonna be just really kind of over the top campy, and it was to a degree, but I love Angela Bassett, and she brought it back for me for some reason, and I like that movie. I do. I really like it. What other? We talked about True Blood. We talked. Let's see here. There is another vampire movie that isn't mentioned that often. Trying to remember what it's called. It has some of the same people that were in the first Final Destination. Let me look. Let's see here. Final Destination. Final Destination cast. Okay, so we're gonna go. I'm gonna reverse check it out here. Let's see. Sorry, I got a phone call. Let's see here. I'll figure it out. The Forsaken. I really like The Forsaken. And it's not one that, gets talked about a lot, but I really like it. And it's got kind of a different take on vampires. I mean, it's the same, but it's a little different. Here's a campy movie, Werewolves versus Vampire Women. I've not seen that. Subspecies was a great series. I know this is going the one subject, but do you like werewolves as much as vampires? Vampires edge them out just slightly, Natasha. I do love vampires and I do love werewolves, but if I had to choose, I would probably choose vampires, but it'd be a tough choice. It would be a tough choice. Interview with a Vampire, classic goth. Lost Boys. Horse Laugh 2. Subspecies. Let's see here. Hey, Drew. Underappreciated and my favorite, Dracula 2000. I really enjoyed the lore they were going for. I agree. I really like Dracula 2000. Hey Perry. And it's not mentioned that much. And I liked the lore that they did there too. The Covenant. The Covenant was more witches. Didn't really have vampires. It would have been great if it had vampires. Dracula, Dead and Loving It. I was watching A Coven of Witches, and it has vampires. And I was actually really enjoying that show. I'll be looking forward to a second season. I hope they make a second season. A lot of these shows, they end up making a first season, and a lot of times you don't get a second season. Hey, Kelly. Let's see here. So I think we about covered what we were going to cover. Why don't we do werewolves next time? Hey, QNS. You know, then we can talk all about werewolves next time. I think that would be a good one. Count Yorga, Vampires was a good set of movies. How about Vampire Diaries? I love Vampire Diaries, Adrian. I really do. As cheesy and as out there as they got, I really liked them, and I really liked the originals. It's spinoff. There's a campy comedy called Vampire Killers. They changed the name, but it was really good. Witches. Let's do werewolves next week, and then we can do witches, and then we can do and then we can do zombies after that. So we can just go down the line. A good cheesy vampire movie was My Best Friend is a Vampire. You know, I think I saw that. I think it was fairly cheesy but good. Thank you, Erin. Thank you, everyone, for coming and putting your input and talking with me and watching. Thank you, everyone. Mwah. See you next time. See you next time.